And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK Show, and this is going to be episode 491. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK Show, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 4. And we are also going to be talking about the controversy that is surrounding Read Comics Online. So, the reason why we're doing this show today a little bit earlier compared to when we would normally do it on Wednesdays or Thursdays is because my work schedule has changed. So, basically, I'm pretty sure moving forward, I'm going to have Monday and Tuesdays off, and I'm closing Wednesday through Friday. So, as you guys can probably understand, that's why I would have to, stream a little bit earlier in the day. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm streaming potentially earlier and later because Saturday I have like a midday shift. And then Sunday I work 9 to 5. So I would have to stream anytime after pretty much I get off. So yeah, things have changed a little bit, but it's fine, as you guys know, because I can just get it all done. And as you guys know, I finally finished cleaning up my house. Everything is good. I might get one more of those, shelf dressers over there from the thrift store across the street. That way, because it came in a set, but I bought like one initially up front. So that's why it just is the one right there. The other shelf I bought is over there. I haven't had the neighbor set it up yet because people are like, MSK, are you going to set it up? Why would I set it up? The fuck? Why would I set something up when I have a neighbor that can do these things? The neighbor can come over and just plug me up, as they say, actually.
Lazy. You want your
heck?
First. Lazy.
And it's crazy. After this episode is over, we are going to be 8 episodes away from hitting 500, actually. So I know people have asked, like, what am I going to do with like episode 500 closely approaching? I really don't know yet, honestly. I'm contemplating not even celebrating because I just don't really feel like there's really anything to celebrate for. Might just maybe wait until like, I don't know, 600 or 700 or something like that. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of contemplating it. You'll know around like episode 495 if I'll really be interested in celebrating the milestone that is the 500th episode of the show, actually. But yeah, the Cloud9 Podcast, I think, is on like episode 386. As you guys know with that show, we were doing like, law esports coverage with the competitive scene, but it's been kind of hard finding a consistent co-host for that since the other person I had has been going through some problems. So there is someone that I can do it with, but it would be most like just doing it every single 2 weeks. I think I'm just going to be pretty much settling on doing that. And with this show, as you guys know, we do have this show pretty consistently throughout the week. Moving forward now, I'm pretty sure that I would have to have the show that I had with Joe on Tuesdays now because I can't have the show Thursdays if I'm going to be closing, or unless I do it like earlier in the day, I think. But that would be cutting it really close. So me and Joe's show is going to have to only be on like Thursdays now moving forward. So we'll see how it all goes, guys. It's going to be a lot of things going on. Oh, my God. Vaughn was here earlier. He was like, MS gay. Actually, I've had sex with a lot of women, actually. And I'm just a master stroke king. I only got like 4 strokes. So, not much more I can do there. Orange, what's up, man? We'll see if he's late. Actually, I was on time. Dingus was late. That's his fault.
Usually it's the other way around. Usually I wait on MSK, but I'll take the blame this one time.
Because I had a girl who was sitting on my face, and I was like, okay, I have to finish blowing your back out. I have to go read a comic book. So that's what ended up happening, guys. I gave up having sex with a girl to read comic books. Nothing is much more better in life than throwing away whore bags for comic books. They're like, you would stop blowing my back out to read a comic book? Yes. I find women to be quite annoying, honestly. So yes, I would rather go indulge in a fantasy world than ever have to talk to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know we have some big things here to cover today, so we're not going to spend too much time going over like just the general conversation that we normally have. But what is going on with you, dude?
What's going on with me? Just chilling. I haven't been up to too much since last we spoke, because last time I think it was right after, like, I was free, right? From the college semester, so I've just been kind of chilling, taking care of a couple things here and there. Haven't been, I can't think of too much I have been doing. Um, when did we do our last show?
I think it was last week. It was on Thursday last week.
Oh, right. Okay, so we did it earlier in the day before I went to go watch a couple movies, because later in that day,
what did you watch then?
I watched Sheep Detectives and Mortal Kombat 2 back to back.
I don't know how you guys watch movies back to back and how your brains can absorb all of it. I need one movie at a time. I heard Sheep Detectives was actually pretty good, which is the premise of it sounded. That's how you make. If you're gonna do a movie that's based off a concept people haven't seen, talking animals is not a concept we haven't seen in movies, but just that concept, that's fun. That's what those are things you can focus on, right? Good. Now, I told people this before. I'm more of a Street Fighter guy. I'm more of like a Virtual Fighter guy growing up. Marvel versus Capcom, hell, Tekken to a certain extent, and Street Fighter would obviously be like my main fighting game I played throughout my entire life. Mortal Kombat really never appealed to me that much. Like, even when I figured out it existed, actually, like, I didn't even know Mortal Kombat existed until, like, I think it was in high school. And they used to have like these, I don't know if you were young enough to know, but they used to have like these channels where they would like have these marathons of like the history of the most popular video games ever. And Mortal Kombat was on there. And I was like, what the fuck is Mortal Kombat? My friend was like, you know Mortal Kombat? It's like, no, the first thing I heard about Mortal Kombat was that Mortal Kombat versus DC movie, like DC video game that came out on like the PS3 a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's two previous Mortal Kombat movies. One that is considered like the best one, and then the second one, which is always considered like one of the worst movies ever made. Probably, I think on a lot of people's lists, it's like the worst movie ever made. That is crazy.
It's pretty bad. It's
crazy.
Really bad. I haven't watched it. But.
I saw Dead Meat YouTube channel cover it. I'm like, this is awful. I no way I would ever stomach or watch that. And then the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie, I think that is one of the worst modern day movies I think I've ever just even sat in a theater or watched. So crazy. There was a packed crowd, and it was like in that period where, like the theaters were trying to come back from the, Wong Ding Dong virus and stuff. And then you watch a movie like that and you're just like, wow, was there any care put into this? Was there any thought put into this? Was there any like just sort of thought process? Like, I got the concept surrounding the Cole character. It's supposed to be like from the outside looking in, if you're a person that's never been interested in like Mortal Kombat or you're just a newcomer, perfectly fine concept. But the character himself was written very bad. It was really surface level. When he got his powers, really wasn't all that interesting of what his powers actually were. I was like, I felt like the acting was really weak. The pacing itself was not like drawn out, but it felt like the pacing was really fast. It felt like you were just being dropped into some like odd prequel movie that they didn't really think was going to do very well, but they just kind of thought that this was just kind of like, what's the best way of saying it? It's like a movie where if you were to swim the first time and you just kind of go like in the shallow end, that's like the best way to describing it. It's like they're like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work. We're just gonna try the most surface level bullshit possible, and we're just gonna just go for it. And that's kind of what they did. Everything they did in the movie was surface. The acting is so bad. The fights are terrible. It's all weird, shaky cam. Just Sub-Zero and Scorpion. They were cool characters, but they're not really in the movies. They're not really in it all that much, though. Then it's like you don't get a tournament because it's a tournament before the tournament movie. It's like, I hope with movies you're not like guaranteed sequels, right? But whatever. I guess they got a sequel, so lucky for them, right? But no, I wouldn't watch that movie if ever. No, fuck that. I just can't stand lazy, horrible pieces of written garbage like that. I just can't. Just watching those is like, well, I'd rather just blow my wife's back out than watch this. It's crazy because also in that same year, I think what else came out that year in 2021? There's some banger movies that dropped that year, but yeah, that one was the day and date release date for when Warner Brothers tried that whole like let's drop our movies the same day as theater. And they're like, is our movies not performing very well? You gave them a free out on streaming. I don't really know why you think they're not doing very well. You gave them a pure out on streaming. If you give people the easiest option to consume something, they are going to take it pretty much like 9 times out of 10. And that's what ended up happening with those movies that came out. Like, I know people want to blame, like, I think Suicide Squad is like the most egregious one, but I tell people this, like, Will Smith movies, people look at Will Smith's career. If they announce sequels to movies that he's previously been in and he's not in that movie, they do typically very bad. Like, if you look at his track record on sequels for movies he's previously been in and he's not in said sequel, they don't do very well. So you had that going for it. People didn't like the first Suicide Squad movie because it was horrible. They didn't like it. It's not a liked movie. It made a lot of money purely based off the timing in which it dropped. You drop that movie right now, it will fail. It will fail because it's not a good movie. And back then, you could kind of drop a movie like that and it would do very well simply just because of the time period in which it's released in.
Yeah, the comic book movie high, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And even though, like, Justice League, like, that wasn't a good movie, that still made okay money.
And that was still considered a flop, remember? That's still considered a horrific flop, and it still took in 630, what was it, like 638?
Well, that's the thing.
Like
it was technically made a little bit of money. It just wasn't, what's the term?
There was no net profit to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it. And
yeah. Oh, because a lot of people think that too. It's like, well, it made 630. It's like, yeah, it technically, yes, it made money. Now, is there any money going to anybody else but the banks? No, it's not, because we're all fucking screwed. All right, so before we get into reviewing Absolute Superman, because we actually have 2 videos to technically do today. Let me make sure it's right here. Let's just go through. So we have New Comic Book Wednesday. As you guys know, I'll be picking up my pull list later on this week. I grab the books that I accumulate every single 2 weeks. And this week, we have Absolute Batman issue 20 that's dropping.
Let's go.
114 interested people still
Wasn't
waiting
that
for this
the amount
book.
of different covers? Isn't that what that means?
Is it covers?
I think those are covers.
Which
is an insane amount of covers.
Maybe you're right, actually. I always thought that was like people that have, checked off, like,
there's a
wanting
bunch
a book.
of retailer exclusives. Look at those retailer exclusives.
Oh, you're right.
Oh
yeah,
my
you're
God.
right. Yeah. 114
It's insane.
variant covers. That's crazy.
That is insane.
Do you remember the one controversy surrounding one of the covers where I think maybe it was an online seller and like maybe had oversold one of the covers to someone? I forgot what it was, because I think someone had gotten a lot of heat for selling one of the covers for like $1,500. But selling,
I don't remember saying that exactly.
It's crazy because
it's crazy though.
I'll tell people this: comic book covers, like this whole variant cover thing that comic book industry is known for doing now. It's just like, guys, I like variant covers. I like certain styles of variant covers, but if it's gonna be like triple over MSRP, I'm not really gonna be doing that. Just the main cover or like a cover, or like the B cover, C cover, D cover is fine. Actually, some people are just fine with picking up the main cover. They're like, I'm just going to pick up the main cover and that's it. And, sometimes the main cover is good enough, but I'm typically a person where, I'm just not understanding what in the world is with all of these people that are just, because this has to be just for collectors. Just no average person is going to be hoarding all of these. And some of these do look very good. Some of these do look very good. God damn, 114 variant covers. Holy fucking shit. God damn.
The thing is, retailers know they can get covers made because it's such a good selling book, and they'll drive people to their store because it's Absolute Batman. Like, it's really a rare, like, what? Here's a good question: when was the last big comic phenomenon since Absolute, or before Absolute Batman?
It just had to be Ultimate Spider-Man. That's the one that came out like a year before it. But yeah, it came out in January that year. It was Ultimate Spider-Man. So outside of Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman,
I feel like the previous biggest would have been Last Ronin.
And then before that, like maybe,
I don't even know what had been before that.
Fuck. Bad. You'd be sniffing through the weeds with that one. Good lord. Because I remember Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman were definitely mega hits. People don't remember. Oh my god, when Ultimate Spider-Man dropped, Lord, just man, you just had to be there. I'll just say it, you just had to be there when Ultimate Spider-Man #1 dropped. Not the Brian Michael Bendis one, which that one did do the same thing that this one did. That one obviously sold very well, but the Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman issue 1, when that dropped, woo, man, people were going crazy for that. That was
I
selling
remember that.
out the ass. I remember that book ended up having like almost 40 variant covers, not even counting like the various other reprints of said issue numbers. Like I think issue 1 had like 20 different printings. It probably still is getting printed still to this day. Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 11, Transformers issue 32, Ultimate Endgame. Feels like people aren't really talking about Ultimate Endgame. It feels like it just kind of came and fizzled out. I think people just kind of gave up on it when they realized the universe was over. I think people were like,
I mean, the moment you say something is ending, it takes out so much steam, regardless if it's really good or not, you know?
Yeah. That's the problem, is that if you get to this point that, Marvel is at, like the same thing that DC had it too, like, we'll use like, well, when James Gunn made that video for his universe, and he was like, the previous universe you've been following for like 10, 12 years, it's kind of over. We're gonna have a new universe coming up in 2025. They're like, huh? Okay. All the movies bomb. Why all these movies bomb? Well, I mean, I'm not saying his announcement indirectly caused those movies to bomb, but it was like one of those like
It was a big thing.
Back.
Yeah.
It's
like
a
lot of people were like, well, why does this matter? And it also is important to say too, most of those movies too also had other things surrounding it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so many people talk about why The Flash bombed, and they try to attribute it to one reason, but it's like, well, actually, that movie bombed because of a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah.
And that was just one of them.
Orange says, I see how it is. Only start after I stop paying attention. Oh my god. It's not, I'm not doing any mesmerizing tricks here. Have you made the contractual reference to Miles Morales yet? No. Actually, speaking of Miles Morales, he is getting a brand new #1 treatment from a different creative team, not Cody Ziegler, coming up. I think it's dropping in September, actually.
Is it in September?
I think it's September or August that he's getting his new #1. And I'll also say this too, people. I know a lot of people always say that when it comes to characters like him, they don't get a lot of support. Well, first of all, guys, that's not true. Miles Morales has had a lot of support as far as like video games and movies.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, he gets a lot more than a lot of other people do. And if you guys want his comic books to keep going, well, you have to kind of support them. I truly believe they only kept that other Miles Morales, ongoing series going purely out of spite. There wasn't any real reason to keep it going. No one was really reading it or checking it out. Am I going to check out the Miles Morales Spider-Man new #1 that's going to drop? Yeah, for sure. I'll give it a chance. I'll check out it's a #1. It's a starting point. It's, we'll see how it goes. Because, I'm not going to punish that new creative team for what the old one did. That would be stupid. But it's just one of those things of like, you wanted to keep going. You got to support it. And we'll get into that, in a little bit here with the whole Read Comics Online thing. I think we should we'll do the comic book review first, actually, because that's more important.
You were talking about Marvel stuff. What do you think about the announcement of their new Midnight Universe we got details on?
So Midnight is the Section 8 housing that I walk past every single night when I'm going through my Section 8 housing. Dingus, why are you doing this to me?
You
set me up with a joke. See, Midnight is essentially when you watch Planet of the Apes around a bunch of black people. Am I right?
What?
No. What? The Marvel overlords are now satisfied that you've mentioned Miles Morales. Yeah, they don't even call him Spider-Man. People, you got to treat him like Spider-Man. You don't call him Spider-Man. What the fuck? And he's not even, not to say he's not Spider-Man technically, but you don't see him as Spider-Man if you're just going to call him Miles. But you call him Peter. Oh, fucking hell. You people are retarded. You people are absolutely ridiculous. Captain America issue 11, Iron Man issue 5. There's Spawn 375.
Let's go. Firestorm. I think that's the first Spawn issue under the new creative team. I believe it's Matthew Rosenberg who's taking care of both Spawn and King Spawn, and the way Todd McFarlane described it is it's like Spawn is like the daytime Spawn, and then King Spawn is like nighttime Spawn. So.
Ooh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Or
Yeah,
the
so
thing is,
King Spawn goes into like when Spawn's a bit darker. Because there's like a couple of different vibes with Spawn that you kind of have seen throughout the years, and so that's part of the reason why we have Spawn and King Spawn is it's able to capitalize on seeing both sides of the characters, and each of those titles are able to kind of lean into a bit more of those vibes.
as you guys know, I'm only buying Black Cat for the covers because the covers have boobs on them. Because
Dork.
Dork,
Sorry.
4th issue. I
Can't wait.
I did buy this. It's on my pull list. I got this. I got this cover. I got this one.
Nice. That's a cool cover. I like that.
This one I liked more. But
I do like that one more.
What?
I don't know which cover I got, but
retail covers. Yeah, some of them are really, really, really cool. I like a lot of these.
That's cool. Yeah.
But if you guys want to pick up Dork in its first trade, it's coming out. When it's coming out? It's probably coming out in like fucking hell. Release date for the trade is July 29th. That's going to cover issues 1 through 5. Okay. Dork issue 4. I hate how they have a series called Amazing Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral Body Count #1. Why in the world are you calling a series Death Spiral?
Well, it's a well, I know it's an event, but it just makes it so confusing of where that fits in.
Yeah. Green Lantern Corps issue 16, Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day issue 1, Null issue 5, Star Wars Shadow of Maul, G.I. Joe. I've heard decent things about Blood and Thunder, but this is a series.
I'm gonna check that out. I haven't read it yet. But this is a
series I would just buy in trades. I would just buy the first few trades that are out. I think the first trades are. Oh my god, guys! I'm watching too much porn. They're not giving me what I want. Oh my god. All right, I think the only big collected editions coming out this week, I think we have the DC's Finest Wonder Woman. And I also think we have, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero Volume 5. There's that one. And what else is here? There's Blood and Thunder Volume 2. Yeah, so, yeah. You have that. And I know we have, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Adventures Companion Volume 2. And what else is here? Nope, just a bunch of reprints. Let me make sure I go back and see if there's any other bigger collected editions coming out. I'm pretty sure there's a DC's Finest coming out. I'm pretty sure. No? Let me see. I'm pretty sure the DC's Finest Wonder Woman by Gail Simone drops this week. I know a lot of people were asking for that as far as like getting the omnibus, but if you want a cheaper version, you could have this. Rebel Moon.
And I believe it's like the second half of that too, because I have one of the first ones they did was the beginning part of it, I believe, because I have that one.
Someone's gonna be jumping into that and being like, "What the fuck is this?" All right, let me make it smaller. Okay.
Maybe it's next week it drops.
It might be next week. You might be right. Yeah, just going through. Yeah, it might be next week actually.
Because I remember we saw it, but I think last week we looked a bit farther.
There's not much. Yeah, there's not much coming out this week. Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, the complete Phase 2 trade. Yeah, this week is kind of
just now putting out Phase 2. Phase 3 is like already done.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Dude, this reminds me of when there was this Batman: The Brave and the Bold series that DC did when Dawn of DC started. It took a year for the second trade to come out. A year.
Wow.
Yeah. The gap.
I remember that first one having like an exclusive Target edition. That
the winning card. Yeah, I have that one. Yeah, and then Volume 2 came out, and it double dipped randomly in the same one or two of the same issues that volume. I was like, what the fuck is going on with some of these? They did not care about that series. They just chucked that in the trash.
That's crazy because that series went on for a good bit.
Lobster Johnson Omnibus.
Well, okay. I'm not sure about being called an omnibus because it's $30, but that seems like a good deal though for all the stuff you get. I am annoyed with Dark Horse does this in particular. I was actually just talking to a friend about this earlier. And speaking of Star Wars too, do you remember these trades? I was literally just talking about these with a friend. These were really good deals. These weren't as big as your normal comic. They're a little bit smaller. You can see how big they were there, but like these were really nice things, but it's just annoying because it's like they call so many things omnibuses, and they're not omnibuses. But don't get me wrong, they're still a good bang for your buck, though.
Oh yeah, it's just they should call those should be just called like smaller compendiums. Then that's what those should be called.
Yeah,
I literally
it's
don't
a
get
Dark Horse thing.
Yeah. This is Blood and Thunder. Yes, it's 7 through 12. What's the first one? Yeah, this all. I'll add this to my collected editions to get. I know I got a few of the first issues for this, but just that's what happens when you get like multiple comic book series and stuff like that. Is like you just kind of forget what you're pulling sometimes if you have a lot of stuff. All right, 520 next week. Absolute Green Arrow issue 1. Woo!
Oh, let's go.
That's
We have
gonna
to go
start.
get that day.
Absolute Flash, Batman Superman World's Finest, issue 51. They're
Lobo!
doing a deluxe oversized hardcover of World's Finest coming up very soon. I know I saw that solicited.
Nice.
Lobo,
I really like that
3.
look. That's a cool Lobo cover.
Oh my!
Battle Beast has also been epic.
You're not reading Wonder Woman by Tom King, the greatest comic writer of all time? Batwoman issue 3, Deathstroke the Terminator issue 3, Punisher issue 4. Man, I have so much stuff to get next week.
I just read the first issue of that Punisher series yesterday. That was good.
Good? Really? Okay.
I liked it. Yeah.
X-Men United, Ultimate Impact Reborn. Yeah, is this supposed to be? Yeah,
it's weird. It's like Ultimate things from the Ultimate Universe and the main universe now, and so it's something that they're trying to be like, oh, the Ultimate stuff kind of lives on, but not really,
What in the world? Okay. What else we have here? This had a pretty interesting premise to it. Let's go. Odin. This is by James Tynion. What's the premise for this? Green Room meets Midsommar and James Tynion's most relentless horror story yet.
I remember hearing about this. This comes out next week. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to see if my comic store gets any spare copies of this. I remember reading the announcement of it, and it sounded cool.
It sounded pretty cool, yeah. Adela will do anything for the perfect story. Yeah, a lot of girls will do anything for me, including going undercover with neo-Nazi punks headed to the frozen forest of Norway under the misbegotten belief that they can summon Odin and achieve their Yeah, I'm getting this. Yep. Sign me up. He did Exquisite Corpses. I know that's coming to an end very soon.
Yeah, I need to read a lot of his other stuff that he's done. He's done a lot of cool Image things I need to read.
Let's see. Any big collected editions coming
Imperial
out?
Guardians up there. I'm excited for that new issue.
Okay.
That one. Yeah.
Oh, this is that cosmic universe that they kind of, stuffed away and said, nah, just forget this. This didn't happen.
Well, here's the thing. From what I understand is that was the most order of all the books.
That's so crazy.
And it's written by Dan Abnett, who is a fantastic writer that I don't think people give him enough credit.
Let's see. What else is
here? With Diablo was interesting.
This is something I keep hearing about. Dungeon Crawler Carl. This was something people kept talking about. This. Yeah, this volume collects issues 114 of the Webtoon edition. Yeah, so I even told artists this too. If you can't get published by Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, any of the comic companies, try to put yourself on Webtoons and see if it'll hit. But people.
I know our friend Warren is moving to trying to do things more digital first.
Really?
Yeah, because he printed his comic. Through Comics Wellspring, who just recently, like in the last month, jacked up their prices for printing stuff.
Oh, I heard about that.
And so it's now like, okay, he's now going to try to build up an audience a bit digitally online before printing more stuff out for Sig and Joe.
So for all you people out there that watched Spider-Man the animated series when we were kids, and then it ended off on probably one of the worst cliffhangers ever, probably in a TV show, period. Might be top 10 worst cliffhangers ever, honestly. They announced a Spider-Man 94 continuation of the Spider-Man animated series, written by J.M. DeMatteis. He did a lot of the stories for the spectacular Spider-Man run. A lot of you guys know. And this was a 5-issue miniseries to wrap up that cliffhanger that you had with Spider-Man the Animated Series due to, a lot of kids is bullshit, But I will say, I wanted to rewatch Spider-Man the Animated Series and review each season before going into this to, refresh my mind on it. If Peter doesn't get Mary Jane in this, and keep on, this is not the main Spider-Man continuity. This is something completely different. So if he doesn't get Mary Jane in this after waiting on this cliffhanger for so long, I'm about to burn. I will burn this book. I'll actually throw it outside and I will open the book, wipe my ass with it, and then I'll burn it. Good Lord. There's no way they can fuck this up, right? He can get Mary Jane in this This is not the main continuity. He can get her in this one, right? He can have Mary Jane in this one, right, guys?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Right? It's okay, right? It's okay. She's not alive. She's technically dead, actually, in this universe, from where we left off. But I will. Yep. Oh God, please, Marvel, do the right thing. I know James DeMatteis.
You want Marvel to do the right thing? What?
What? No. Good Lord. What else is here? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is an instant pickup. I have all the single issues, Yeah, the water clone. Yeah, this guy was sticking his dick in a water clone and didn't know. They really hate that guy. What else is here? Absolute Blackest Night hardcover. But Blackest Night, you could already get that in Omnibus anyway. Gunslinger Spawn Origins Book 1 hardcover. What the heck? Female Force Sigourney Weaver #1. Are we just running out of ideas here? Yeah, what the fuck? What is... Okay. The Ben 10 #1. I think that's getting another reprint. I know that's
it's a special metal variant.
Yeah, that's cool.
Special variants.
Teen Titans Bronze Age Omnibus.
That's cool.
Yeah. Dingus's favorite, The Wizard of Oz trade paperback. We know he loves just the Yellow Brick Road.
Nothing wrong with it.
Oh, good Lord. King Conan, the original Omnibus Volume 3. Yeah, next week is a little bit more. Darkwing Duck Omnibus Volume 2. Who is a fan of Darkwing Duck?
Me, I love Darkwing Duck.
Are you 5?
Always.
What else is there? So that is pretty much it. Yep. We can only have what's safe. I need them to at least put him with Mary Jane in this one. I'm not gonna cry when reading it because I've been waiting for the cliffhanger for so long. I'm like, oh, good job, Peter. Oh yeah, but it's not gonna happen. I'm preparing for the worst if I ever read that. I'm preparing for the worst.
See, Orange agrees.
Let's get Darkwing Duck.
Get dangerous.
Oh my God! It reminds me of when that duck guy showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember that? There's that post-credit scene.
Howard the Duck?
It was Howard the Duck. Yeah. He's never been shown again. Where is he gone? He got snapped out of...
He's made a cameo in every Guardians movie.
And
then...
Thanos snapped out of existence.
And then he was in... no, because he was in Guardians 3. He was in, near the beginning of Guardians 3. Yeah, he's there because he's there playing cards with Ravagers and that.
Oh, gotcha.
No, or am I thinking of something else? He's somewhere in Guardians 3. I promise. He's in every single one of them.
Yeah, they may have it weirdly not listed on League of Comics Geeks, but if you guys wanted Gail Simone, a part of maybe Gail Simone's Wonder Woman run that from 2009 2010, the DC's finest Dawn Before Darkness trade paperback is out today, so I want you guys know about that because it was weird. It was pre-saled. I was gonna just buy it, but it wasn't on here for some reason, which is so weird. But yes, James DeMatteis, do us a nice solid and put Mary Jane and get Peter Parker that happy ending with Mary Jane in Spider-Man the Animated Series. That would be amazing. Also, I've wondered this as well. Hopefully, at one point, Warner Brothers will do a Teen Titans animated series continuation like they did with the Batman the Animated Series. And keep in mind, Paul Dini was on the Batman The Adventures Continues series, because you could tell. I don't think he. Okay, the new Adventures of Batman and Robin. I did like it. It is not bad. It's good. It's not as good as Batman the Animated Series, obviously, but you could tell he took a lot of the criticism from that show and wanted to do something good with Batman The Adventures Continues, actually. And I'm glad we can finally have these things. So I hope Warner Brothers, that would be like on my wish list for people, because people always ask me, what do you want? If you could ask for anything, what would one of them be? I would ask for a comic book continuation of Teen Titans the animated series, because leaving it off on that cliffhanger with Terra and coming back and just I don't know, that cliffhanger has always been just as bad as like the Spider-Man the animated series one. If you would ask me personally, maybe a comic, maybe a 5-issue, or not 5 issues, test the waters out, try it like you did with the Batman The Adventures Continues, like put some of the people that were on the Teen Titans animated series as the creative team on the book and see if it can actually happen. I think that'd be pretty cool. You announce that, you're going to be getting some people to read that, obviously. That's just my opinion. But what do I know, Dingus? I'm just a hot, rich black guy,
Sure, whatever you say.
Oh, God. Ownership was contested in the 70s because Disney sued, but now Disney owns them anyway.
Well, I mean, they've been doing comics with him. Nothing recently that recent, but I was just looking at the last thing because I remember there's a Howard the Duck one shot that came out, and I was
right.
It came out in 2023. I thought it was like only a year and a half ago, but it was like 2 years ago.
Oh my God, I missed out on I have to add this to my I gotta add this to my pull list after I had so many books on my freaking pull list this week. Oh my God, there's this other new series I think that started. The Olympus
Saga. I looked at that earlier. Yeah, that's interesting.
This looks pretty cool. I'm gonna have to just pull this next week on my list.
Yeah, that might be one I'll wait for a trade.
Yeah,
that does look really cool.
So we have Immortal Legend Batman hardcover. This had 5 issues in it, I think, or 6 issues. I have all the single issues of this one, actually.
Yeah, I want to read that.
Then we have Planet Hulk Marvel Premiere Collection. One would hope that Marvel would just do a Marvel Compact Comics. No, they're still sticking with their Premiere collections. All right. Fuck me. Planet Hulk, as you guys know, this is a pretty iconic Hulk story, obviously, with, the Planet Hulks and all that. Leads into World War Hulk and everything. So why can't they give me an omnibus of this? They haven't reprinted in a while. That's what happens. Because they hate us. DC's Finest Wonder Woman's here. What else is here? Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 30. JLA, A League of Juan, the deluxe edition hardcover. New Avengers. Modern Era Epic Collection, Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion already has a lot of collective material. This is a weird thing, too. What is this going to be? This is odd. Batman in the 70s trade paperback. Okay. All right. I mean, all right, I guess. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah, we have some interesting stuff that dropped this week. So make sure you guys, go out and support your local comic shop. We'll get into that later.
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Oh, God. So, as you guys know, I am a sex god, obviously. I have sex with a lot of women, and I kind of relate to a lot of people as far as, like, life itself. No, I don't. I'm just saying a bunch of bullshit to you guys because that's what you guys like me doing.
Well, we knew that.
Oh, God. All right. We're going to start here in just a moment. Okay. All right, let's go. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 4. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our previous comic book reviews on Absolute Superman issues 1 through 3, I highly recommend you guys go and check out our Absolute Superman issues 1 through 3 comic book reviews. That way you guys can understand how we felt about those issues compared to this one. And we are almost done with the first arc of Absolute Superman, The Last Dust of Krypton, which I think has, if I'm not too mistaken, one more issue of the first arc, or I think it's 6 actually.
I think it's 6.
Okay, so
I can check.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Oh, wait a minute. I think I'm just gonna fuck myself. What the hell?
Is
it 6? I'm pretty sure it might be 6.
They count issue 6 as the epilogue.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, 6 pretty much.
All right. Oh god. All right. Are you ready? You ready for an absolute banger? Because my brain fell apart. I'm alive.
Boy.
I'm a sex god. Good lord. Sure. I'm not, dude. At work, they crowned me the CEO of sex. Good lord. I am now the CEO of sex, as you guys know. Hold on. Let me move my freaking. No. Oh my god. Computer's just. What's my angle? There we go. It's a better angle to get all my good lookingness. You know? No.
Sure.
No.
Sure. Totally.
Oh gosh. All right. Let's go. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 4. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our previous comic book reviews on Absolute Superman issues 1 through 3, I would highly recommend you guys going and checking out our previous comic book reviews on Absolute Superman issues 1 through 3. That way you guys can understand how we felt about those individual issues compared to this one. And we are almost done with the first arc of Absolute Superman, written by Jason Aaron with art done by, Sandolva, actually. And the art from Sandolva has been fucking awesome. Man, this guy's art is so good. I love looking at it every single time I read one of these books, despite some of Jason Aaron's writing, which can be a little bit convoluted in some aspects. I don't feel like... Okay, so I will say this, though. The reason why Jason Aaron's writing gets a little bit more criticized is because sometimes he writes in a way that is a lot more convoluted and confusing when he's just trying to say something just straightforward. So, like, a character is saying something, and then the character after them is talking, he's like, no, this is what it really means. It's like, Jason, just say that. Just not everything has to be, hey, I think the sun is perpendicular to the actual ground we're walking on, and then I actually could just walk it. So you could just walk, right? Yeah. Why don't you say that then? Fucking, I hate when people do that in movies. They're always like, do you remember in like animes, characters are like, I can calculate the distance from the sun to my next attack. First of all, how can you do that? and then second of all, they're like, so you're just gonna shoot far. Yeah. Why don't you just say that then? But so before we enter into the final, 2 issues of this arc, I would say Absolute Superman is actually pretty solid. I actually really enjoy it. Now, do I enjoy it as much as Absolute Batman? Well, I can't say that yet because I've read more of Absolute Batman, actually. Just finished, before you guys watch this comic book review, I actually just finished, putting out a video for Absolute Batman issue, 13? Actually, so I'm way further in Absolute Batman than this series. But overall, the series, it is actually good. I will say I enjoy it. It's a lot more militaristic and sci-fi than what I'm normally used to, consuming in most comic books, actually. But I do thoroughly enjoy it. And the art from, Sandoval, right? Sandoval is very good. Also, what I've noticed with these books, Absolute Superman, at least from these first issues I've read, was that the ad placements have been very good. Like, they don't break your immersion. I feel like, man, it's so hard for comic books these days to not insert a random ad when you're trying to, like, engulf yourself in the story. Like, I'm sitting there reading, like, of Aliens versus Avengers, and then I'm like, oh my god, there's big things happening with Mr. Sinister. Here's an ad about fucking Viagra. All right. Cool, I guess. So, where does this issue pick up where we left off last time? So, the first part of the issue is the peacemakers essentially interrogating people that Superman interacted with and saved in various situations. So he's trying to get them to tell him and his group of peacemakers where did he go, because as you guys know, we haven't seen Superman in the present day since issue 2 because he flew off because he didn't want to be around people. And I agree with him. People can be kind of annoying. Literally, when I have my days off, I'm sitting in my house just, getting sucked up by my wife playing video games. So you think I want to interact with people? I agree with him. Interacting with people is fucking annoying as hell. Especially like if you're like a superpowered person, like why the fuck would I interact with pathetic humans, honestly? So the people that interacted with him and he saved them are being interrogated by the peacemakers who are working for, the Lazarus organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lois Lane comes in to, take down the guy that's interrogating them. And this was, oh God, these books, for some reason, are some of the most brutal books. He takes his hand and twists his fingers the opposite way. Just want to point that out. If you do that to someone, they would need surgery. Yeah, it's, oh God damn. If I will say, you probably shouldn't read this if you don't like body, I forgot, there's a word for it. If you're kind of, I would say, squeamish to, people getting like their limbs getting broken, probably don't read the Absolute books. There's a lot of bones and limbs getting broken. Well, in Absolute Batman, he took oh good lord, he took a dead guy's teeth, made serrated razor blades out of them and slit a dude's throat. Just, he had to survive. Let's just say that. So Lois takes down the guy that was interrogating the people that are trying. Lois takes down the guy who was interrogating the people that Superman previously interacted with because they're trying to find out where he is. And then she's like, you're under arrest. And she's like, well, I know what you're doing because you're kind of in this job with me. But, she doesn't really think he's good at his job. And, she says she can do it better by herself. But that is just, oh my God. Dingus, is Lois in the pegging? She's making this guy gag on a dildo. What in the world? Do you think she has some like weird mommy thing that people are into these days? Hey,
I could see it with this version of Lois, not mainline Lois, but I could see this one. Yeah.
She, as you guys know, she breaks this guy's hand, and then she was like, "I'll just take over, going after Superman." So then she is able to kind of figure out, how they know Superman. So she ends up taking over, interrogating the same people that he was interrogating. And then after that, she ends up in Pakistan. So as you guys know, 9/11s actually. And then she has says, Superman, if you can hear me, your friends were wrong. I'm not chasing the storm. I am the storm. And you can't hide from me forever. And then Lois's dad ends up calling General. That's her dad, obviously. He, in most continuity, has worked for the military. So essentially, long story short with these, he is trying to tell her about how dangerous Superman is. And then, he's also telling her about this other group of people called the Omega terrorists, who are basically, dangerous people whom he calls the Omega Men, right? So the Omega Men, aka the Omega terrorists, are people that are in an organization that opposes the Lazarus organization, right? So, but keep in mind, Lois has been brought under the Lazarus organization, not the other one, obviously. And Lazarus organization is the one that has the Brainiac system with Brainiac running it, but they don't know it's Brainiac running it because they're talking to an algorithm. So yeah, that's how that goes. I know that could be there's a lot of dialogue on this, so I can get a lot of people that are confused with
There's a lot of references made, and you just see how unhinged of a guy Lois's father is there.
And Lois's dad is obviously in a wheelchair, and it's pretty much revealed later on that he had a bad scuffle with the Omega Men. That's kind of why he's actually there, because one of the characters later on references her dad and asks if he's okay. So, and then she cuts him off because remember, she's going to do her own field reporting as of the end of issue 2. And then after that, we get to a point where, Lois says she's going out. And then we can tell that she is being stalked by someone, as you guys can see right here. Then you get, I think this is Peacemaker. So I know there's Peacemakers, like the actual police force they have in this series, but Smith, Peacemaker's name is Chris Smith.
Christopher Smith, yes.
It's one of this is the absolute Christopher Smith Peacemaker. And so in issue 2, when they unloaded on all those civilians in that one area, I think he didn't think that those were lethal rounds. I think he thought they were like those rounds that can incapacitate someone, but not like actually hurt them. And he was confused as to why it was happening. He's talking to the algorithm and Brainiac, who's he can't see, just basically says everything's okay. You can go back to doing your job. But Peacemaker, actual Peacemaker, is like, hey, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I want to talk to an actual person, not just an algorithm, because he feels bad for what he just did. Right. And after that, we jump back to Lois, who's being stalked by, as you guys know, it's the Omega Men, because her dad referenced it earlier. She gets attacked by one of the Omega Men, whom we don't know who is yet, and then he tells her, you're on the wrong side, actually, because as we know now, the Omega Men are probably the good guys. The people that are on the Lazarus organization are the bad guys. So what did you think about this issue so far at this point, for everything we saw?
I mean, I really like that little moment with the Chris Smith that we just saw of saying, like, seeing what exactly the Peacemakers are in this absolute universe, and still having Chris Smith, I thought was cool. And, having somebody that still isn't in the right mindset like Chris Smith is, like, in the main world. And so seeing that in this was cool. We had some good moments. We did kind of just skip over them, but the main dialogue bits, like with all the panels, like with how it opened up, like there.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Those were good moments as well. Because we haven't seen Superman yet in this issue, and Superman really isn't in this issue that much, obviously, right? I mean, we're halfway through and we haven't seen him, and so it's interesting to see how the world surrounds him. And so I really like how the issue puts this emphasis on it and his impact in the world, even though he's not like the main Superman that we know of yet.
Oh yeah,
and so I like seeing that aspect a lot of the story.
Yeah, I also enjoyed that, one of the Peacemakers is kind of breaking out of like the hive mentality and being like, okay, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the people that they attacked at the end of issue 2, I think, they weren't really doing anything. He just kind of unloaded on them for some reason. But I think he also said right here, I was trained to maintain peace at all costs. Sometimes I worry I could do really awful things in the name of, and then, starts interacting with Brainiac. He starts interacting with the algorithm more. So then after that, Lois and this mysterious person start getting into a scuffle. And then they blind each other with, I think, like flash grenades, actually. They start interacting and fighting a bit more until the stand down ends up getting stopped by the leader of the Omega Men, called the Omega Prime. And, she was like, Lois was like, damn it, Dad, why do you always have to be right? Well, yeah, guys are always right. Women are always wrong, as you guys know. So she thinks she can hold it by herself. And then after that, the Peacemakers hear about the shots being fired. And then they ask, they also, one of the Peacemakers says to actual Peacemaker, hey, get your head in the game, and he's just going by the motto, peace at all costs. And then, they run over some of the civilians here. And then it goes back to, Lois fighting the Omega Prime, which slashes her gun. And then, she knows who she is. She's Agent Lane. Let me get your Omega Prime. And then she says, I'm an old friend of the family. How's the general these days? A bit shorter last time we'd met, I wager. So, hopefully the Omega Prime didn't cripple her dad. Because that would be just, what an awkward moment that is. Hey, your dad's a cripple because of me. And then the other mysterious character tells the Omega Prime to fall back. And then after that, they're having this scuffle about, we can convince her she's not too far gone. And then this dust starts appearing. The red dust appears. You guys know who that is. Superman appears. This was one of the coolest moments of the issue, where he just drops out of the sky and just lands right there. That was really cool. And then he uses the dust to blow away the two Omega crew fighting with Lois right here. And then they're like, we found Superman. And the Superman appears right there, as you guys can see, just landing down. Then she has the Omega Prime says, Superman, the Omega Men stand ready to help you against your fight against Lazarus. Wait, no. Superman, the Omega Men stand ready to help you in your fight against Lazarus. Yeah, I think I read that right. Black people can't read, as you guys know. CNN's some bullshit. Please come with us together and we can. And then he just swats her away. So, yeah, Superman's pretty powerful, actually, as you guys know. And then Superman says, you to Lois right here. So, as you guys know, Superman's so powerful and he can just swat people away. They don't really matter to him, actually. And then Superman right here tells Lois to stop looking for him. He just kind of wants to be alone. She says, I just want to talk. He says, I have nothing to say to you. Then she says, I'll do all the talking. Then she says, but please give me a moment of your, and then, the Peacemakers show up because the Peacemakers want to take Superman in, obviously. And then Lois says, no, you idiots, get back. I'm in charge of this. And then, one of the Peacemakers says, agent secured. And then after that, they hone in on Superman with their guns. And then they say, Superman, all units respond. That's him, all right. Remember me, pal? And he was like, no. And he just uses ice breath. He finally uses his ice breath in this arc. So he freezes all of them. And then Lois is like, wait, no, not again. Don't you? And then he just leaves. And then he just goes. So Superman is literally like my dad, as you know, Dingus, just appears and then just leaves, obviously.
I will say, I really like the use of his ice breath there. I thought that was really cool.
Okay. And then the mystery character who was interacting with Lois, obviously, was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? So he captures him on video flying. And then after that, Lois tells one of the Peacemakers, you jack-booted morons did this. You lost me, Superman, and you let the Omega Men get away. And then she's like, can you hear me in their popsicle brains? Does it hurt? And then one of the Pakistan guys is like, somebody give me a picture of this. And she's like, I sure as hell hope it does. Imbecile, this is your fault. And then, the two Omega Men are interacting with each other and they have a conversation. And then we come to find out, we realize the spoiler is the ginger-haired person interacting with Lois was Jimmy. You finally get Jimmy Olsen in Absolute Superman, and he made his debut in issue 4. He doesn't believe she's too far gone. He says, I believe Agent Lane can be convinced. She's got a good heart. I know it. She just needs more time to accept what that little voice inside her head keeps whispering to her every single morning. So, and then he looks at the Superman video he just captured on his phone, and he says, that just maybe she's on the wrong side, And then, the end of the book happens with the Peacemaker getting, the Peacemakers are like, thawed out. Well, of the ice as it melts. It's obviously it melts at some point. It takes a while. And then one of the other Peacemakers says to the other actual Peacemaker, says, Smith, stand down, get his gun, get him in restraints. So actual Peacemaker is restrained by the other Peacemaker members. And he said, what happened? He spit on us. Superman spit us away like we were nothing, and everyone was laughing. What did you do? What did I do? Oh, not much, tough guy. You just brought a storm down on all our heads. So it looks like something has been going on with actual Peacemaker, and it caused him to just straight up unload on a lot of the other civilians out there. So it looks like, from what I can tell from all these issues, is Brainiac, using this algorithm for Lazarus, is causing the Peacemakers to cause crime, is to cause bad situations to happen that they can blame on Superman. Because as you guys, or something has been going on with actual Peacemaker to make his brain go like that, because he's been fucking just wilding out here. But yeah, Rafa Sandova art was so good in this issue. And like, no, I enjoyed the issue a lot. It was pretty solid. It was nice of a bounce back to go back to Lois, back to what she was doing in issue 2, to follow up on that. We get a little bit more of like how the Peacemakers are kind of functioning, and Peacemaker, actual Peacemaker, breaking out of the hive mind, but he might be dementally insane. He might be just straight up mentally ill, or he might be like controlled, or maybe when he's wearing the helmet, he's brainwashed to do these things. We don't know yet. Anything else you picked up toward the end of the book that you wanted to go over that you liked?
I mean, yeah, it was just another solid issue. I did like the different kind of focus of the issue compared to some of the other bits that we've gotten before. Nice to be. It is interesting that we didn't get any, unlike last time. We didn't get any. You know what I just noticed? We didn't really get any connections from last issue at all, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I guess for this issue, he just chose to just jump to
It's fully in the
issue
present,
2.
and then
Yeah,
the one thing in the present was showing Malkin, and we got no reference of her at all. So
yeah.
that's interesting. But I do like the whole Brainiac setup, and it is a cool, good cliffhanger to lead into issue 5.
Yep,
So
and this was the last Dust of Krypton Part 4. I'm pretty sure it's 6 issues because I know Absolute Batman also went through that too. Like issue 5 was supposed to be the last issue, but they didn't count issue 4 as part of the zoo arc, so they just had issue 6 be the final part of the zoo arc. So I don't know if this one is the same thing. Like they planned like issue 5 to be the last one, but issue 6 is like the actual ending of the arc. So yeah,
good
we'll have to
question.
see. Yeah, let me check right now. I'm pretty because I have it in my oh my god. It's crazy. I buy these single issues, but then I have all of this stuff like saved to buy like trades and stuff too. Yeah,
Oh
so
boy.
Absolute Superman Volume 1 is issues 1 through 6. So yeah, the first arc is 6 issues, actually. So yeah, overall, outside of like the issues I had with Absolute Superman issue 1, issues 2, 3, and 4 have been pretty good. It's actually gotten better with each issue. Writing's got a lot more clearer. Motivations are still pretty ambiguous, but a lot of the setup is there. The Peacemakers, actual Peacemaker, the lowest dynamic with Superman. Superman still being kind of aloof. Jimmy Olsen introduced. You have the Omega Men, and now you have the way you understand it now, where like the Peacemakers might be actually brainwashed by Brainiac and the algorithm to hurt people to make it look like Superman's doing it, so that they have a reason to go after him, even though they're the ones doing it. But the public thinks I think the public doesn't think Superman's doing it though. That's the problem. But it's hard to prove these things when you're having all these jumping pieces move around. So, yep. Yeah. Otherwise, enjoyed the issue. Can't wait to read issue 5. Sorry, and review it next week. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we're going to butt fuck your sister. I'm joking, guys. This is all jokes. So yeah, that's going to get edited out when this actually goes live. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I'm MSK, aka Master Swagging, and we're going to be signing out, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace. You guys would only see that live. That is going to get edited out when this processes.
Don't lie.
I would never lie. Imagine just hearing a video like that and just going like, this guy just has dementia or something. All right. So let's get. So we rarely do this. Well, to be fair, I'm gonna say it's rare, but okay. Let me see. Give me this 1 second here. Let's go through a lot of this right now. So, have you come across the Read Comics Online story that's been circling on Twitter?
I have been reading some of that. Yes.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Because I'm gonna go through a lot of the complaints here. I'm gonna be bringing up Ram V. As you guys know, he's a person who previously wrote on Detective Comics. He's currently writing New Gods for DC as well. He's written a lot of stuff for, I'd imagine, DC more than Marvel, but let me make sure to bring up this guy's resume really quickly. Because some of these like people I barely know of only for being on like one big series. I don't want to, say like, oh, they're only known for this. Oh, he's Indian. Oh, fuck. That's why he thinks this way. Oh my God. Really? You have to be an Indian? Come on, Ram. No, wait a minute. His name is. I just thought of this. His name is Ram V.
done more things at DC, but he has done a couple things at
a couple things at Marvel. Yeah. Right?
things at Marvel.
I
Yeah.
think he's done some things at Marvel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm looking here. It's a little bit of Carnage and a little bit of Venom stuff.
Thank you. Come again.
That's okay. Let me go through some of it. Okay, so good lord. Okay, so I'm going to. Okay, so I'll do. Let me make sure I set this up properly. I'm going to set up the video like this with his tweets. I think his tweets summarize a good amount of pretty much everything going on. Let me just make sure I get it all ready right now. Let me just bring it up right here. Anything you're going to be reviewing on your channel with Warren coming up?
Tomorrow we're gonna be recording and it'll be out within a few days afterwards, as we're gonna review Volume 1 of Ultra Mega.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be live to review the Smallville Season 2 finale on Before the Cape with the usual Before the Cape crew. We skipped last week since somebody was out of town on a little vacation, so with it being the finale, we wanted everybody there, so we skipped last week.
Yeah, so Ram V's work includes, good lord, what a name these fucking series are. Graffiti's Wall. And people wonder why this stuff doesn't get read. A name, whatever. But there's a series called Dingus. We need to review Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction. Sex Criminals.
I haven't read it. I need to. That's something I should check out.
I know about sex. Series. As you know, I'm an expert in getting women to have orgasms. Oh my god. These Savage Shores, the many deaths of Lalia Starr. He did Swamp Thing, Justice League's Dark, Catwoman, Detective Comics, obviously, and Carnage.
Really liked his Swamp Thing run. I think I've read almost all of his Swamp Thing stuff.
Yeah, he's did a lot of. Yeah, he's did.
I don't know if I read Future State Swamp Thing.
He did a little bit of Aquaman, obviously Batman. That's his big thing. Catwoman, Dark Crisis, Justice League Dark, Swamp Thing, We Are Legends.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, there's wasn't he writing New Gods? Yeah, he was writing New Gods. He wrote
I read the first 7 issues of that. That was pretty solid. He's a writer I like. I like more of this stuff than I don't.
Okay. Let's start. Oh god, why am I so old, guys? Ugh. Okay. I want to make sure I preference this when I'm doing these things. So there's a reason why I'm doing this in a video. So the reason why I wouldn't kind of like have this show clipped up in shorts for this topic is because I want people to actually hear what I'm going to say. Because if I were to put these kind of like if I were to put the takes I'm going to have in shorts, people will go, "Oh my god, you don't understand me, bro. I have no money because I'm just a fucking loser and I don't have a job and I would rather have my mom pay all my bills." It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about, but that would also be a problem too. So, all right, let's do it. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Read Comics Online controversy that ended up happening this past week, actually. So this website that is on the internet that allows you to, sail the high seas, as they say in the pirate world, allowed you to read comics online for free. And you could also, not only just read new comics that, come out on New Comic Book Wednesday, but you would also be able to read comic books that haven't had reprints ever, or have had very little reprints, and comic book runs that haven't even been printed in collected editions. Any form of collected edition you can think of. Like, some of these comic book runs don't even have, trades at all. Some of them are just like that for a lot of older comic book runs before they started getting into like the collected edition side of things for the comic book industry. So I'm going to make sure I preference every single thing because I know from doing this so long, I'm going to have that one guy that says, but me, dude, and then just go link on the keyboard. I'm going to cover every single point here. But I will start off by covering these points first because these are the most important ones that people always like to latch onto because this is how they've always done it. Okay, so this is kind of like an unspoken rule thing I generally have when it comes to that kind of thing, which is, sailing the high seas, as they say in piracy, okay? If you do that, stop bragging about it, stop telling people about it, because there isn't anything you can kind of morally justifiably say that's going to make it okay. Just please understand that. If you are doing that, don't tell anyone you're doing that. Just say you watched it, give your opinion on it. Don't say where you watched it from, okay? This is the problem with some of you kids these days. You're literally fucking stupid, and I'll just tell you this. Stop telling everybody the things you do. Not everyone needs to know every single intricate thought and action you do, okay? Just stop doing that because this is the kind of reaction you end up getting, right? So when a bunch of people are bragging about reading comics online, sailing the high seas, what do you think's going to happen with these major companies? Do you think they'll just allow that to exist and just not take it down? But then some other retarded idiot is going to say, but MSK, this other company allows it to. Good Lord. Some of you people are straight up so fucking retarded. It's almost like an insult I have to even speak to you. Just because one other company allows something doesn't mean these companies allow that. Where does that even come from? So there's another argument people like to give. But Shonen Jump and these other manga ones allow it. That doesn't, and even, okay, let's just say they allow it, even though they kind of only allow it for certain reasons, right? What does them allowing it automatically dictate that Marvel and DC and Image have to allow that? Do you know what an utterly retarded straw man argument that is? That is like saying, okay, let's say I went into a McDonald's with my own grill and I use like propane. Should I just be able to just like whip out a grill in McDonald's lobby and start making my own burgers? And if they don't kick me, and let's say they kick me out. But let's say I try that in, I don't know, Burger King or Five Guys, right? But they don't kick me out. Do you see what that distinction means? People are going to do different things. That's literally all that means. What I'm describing to you is just because one company allows for something to happen doesn't mean the other ones are allowed to like that too. That's called crazy thing, a difference of opinion, a different way of treating things, just a different thought process, right? So then let's get into the people that use this argument too. Don't worry, I know all the arguments. I'm going to go through every single one of them. I will actually sympathize with this argument because I understand where you guys are coming from. The only way I would ever thoroughly justify you doing that is this. You have no access to this stuff at all based off where you are in the world. So this is something that a lot of people in America and Europe like to do. They do this. It's this concept that is called out of sight, out of mind. So people are going to ask, what the hell does that mean? So what it means is if it's not directly in your sight or you can visibly see it or interact with it, you do not think it exists. So a lot of people in America and Europe, to a certain extent, think just because they have certain things that they can get to and interact with, they automatically think that everyone else has that same opportunity too. So people are gonna be like, you mean politics? Like with privilege? No. I'm not talking about privilege and that politic bullshit. What I'm talking about is basic things. So like, like in America, we have like Walmarts here, right? So it would be like common for us as Americans to say, did you go to Walmart? Do you go to Walmart? Shop to Walmart? Okay, so if you're in a country that doesn't have a Walmart, you would go, well, I don't have a Walmart in my country. I don't shop at Walmart. But it's different based off where you're located in the world. You guys see what I'm saying? People use this logic of like out of sight, out of mind for literally everything. And it's worse when it comes to comic books because comic book people think just because they do a certain thing every single week or they have a certain way of buying comic books means that everyone else has that same access and opportunity too. But people have to understand, so I'll give you an example of this. So like in Brazil or like other countries in like South America or other places around the world, distributors do not distribute things the same way that we get them. In America, we are I'm not gonna use that word, but I have to use it in this case. We're a little bit more privileged with how our distribution system works, right? We're very privileged in that aspect because we can get a lot of things over here because people pay like tariffs and import tax and all that stuff, right? So we can get things over here relatively faster. But in other countries, given how shipping works and how this stuff is made, it costs a lot of money to get that stuff imported over there and allow it to be accessed to the general public, though. So I'll use Yu-Gi-Oh! For example. There are certain Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets that Brazil is behind us. So, like, let's say we're on the current X Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon Magic the Gathering set. Well, Brazil might be 4 sets behind. That's how it works for a lot of them over there. They might actually be 4 sets behind you. So you know how like we're on like we're like on DC All In and Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman. Guys in Brazil, they might actually still be on like 2022 DC books, Marvel books, given how their distribution system works actually. Not every country's distribution system distributes things in the same way. So if you're in like Colombia, they don't distribute things the same way. If you're in like Turkey, they don't distribute things the same way. I'd imagine in like Russia and Ukraine, given what's going on with, politics, things aren't distributed certain ways over there like we have it. So people need to understand just because something happens for you a certain way doesn't mean that everyone else has it happen that same way too. So I can understand someone, they're like, hey, I love this stuff. I really want to be a fan of it, but I have no way of interacting with it. That I will give you that. I understand where you're coming from. That's understandable. The problem that I have with people is everyone likes to use that argument as if it's for them. You'll have people in America who can get access to this stuff and go, but man, I don't have a shop near me. No, if you are in a country where you can get access to it, there's no problem. I could understand some like third world person wanting to have access to this stuff, but literally can't have access to it. That's understandable. But everyone likes to use that. They in their mind are giving you that third worlder bullshit. Oh, dude, look, I'm from the back alley of Turkey. I can't get access to anything. Motherfucker, you live in Minnesota in a big city. The fuck are you talking about? You have no access to this stuff. What really happens is people, for some reason, want to read comic books, but actually pay for them, and then complain when comic books have no sales, despite saying they like the series, but aren't willingly financially forking over the money to support said series, though. Do you see what I'm bringing up here? This is why people need to also understand the other point I'm going to bring up. People need to understand about piracy and kind of sailing the high seas. People that do that are most likely 9 times out of 10 never were going to buy a physical copy anyway or interact with the medium by physically paying for it. That's always going to be a thing. You can't live life like that. You can't live life going, well, if I walk outside right now, I could get hit by a car. Yeah, you could. You could get hit by a car walking outside. What, so you just going to never walk outside? That's the thing that most businesses need to understand. People are going to pirate. You can break it down as much as you want. You own it. You can do whatever you want with your own shit. I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is this logic of we have to break down piracy because that means automatically those sales would have transferred into our books. I don't know about that. These people are already so desperately trying to get something for free. Why would with their extra money buy your stuff anyway? And I'm not saying you're wrong for doing that. You're batting for the companies. I am batting for the companies in this specific aspect. Those people need to understand the people that are pirating that much are not going to buy your stuff anyway because they're always going to make excuses for it. Well, I couldn't have bought Absolute Batman because, I got paid. I came home. I saw my wife riding my brother's face. I saw her bouncing on his cock. We got divorced. I'm broke. It's always going to be an excuse with people. It's always going to be as an excuse after an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. These people literally live in excuses all the fucking time. You have to focus on the people that are buying and you also have to figure out why they're not buying as much. Because if you remove piracy, because keep in mind, before piracy was ever really a thing on the internet as big as it is, comic book sales were pretty, up and down already. It's only more in the modern times the sales have absolutely collapsed outside of Skybound, Image, the Absolute Universe, the Ultimate stuff, and all that stuff, right? Sales were already on the downward trajectory before piracy ever became as big as it is, honestly. So you have to factor in what stops the average person from buying a comic book. What I brought up earlier, out of sight, out of mind. Do you remember when people bring up that when they were kids, they used to buy comic books at gas stations, like 7-Eleven, liquor stores? Yeah. If you put comic books in the most common places people are going to go to, they can see that they exist. Most people don't interact with comic books because they don't know they exist. How can you get more sales for an idea of a concept that is real that doesn't exist to average people? That's the problem, though. And DC has did a very big job with this, and getting the compact comics out. They put a lot of their books out in Dollar Trees and stuff like that. But this stupid, silly notion that the pirate people are going to start buying your books now if you crack down those sites is nonsense. They're so used to getting it for free. You'd have a better chance of God, Jesus, and Jesus himself coming back in that book of Revelation before you'd ever get one of those people to actually buy a physical copy. These people, guys, literally live at home with their moms, literally shit on a lot of government things on Twitter every single day, asking for handouts. These people are literally perpetually loser, retarded, broke people. Interacting with them is worthless because they'll never buy anything. These people will literally advocate with their dying breath to get everything for free. These are the same people in your hometown, city, wherever the fuck you guys live in the world, that are always asking for government phones because they're so lazy to not go fill out a job application to go and get a job. Keep in mind, more kids these days are living at home with their parents. They're not paying rent. They're not paying an electric bill. These people are literally don't even have jobs. You can live at home as long as you get a job. They can't even do that. And these companies want these people to go. And these companies think that taking down these sites automatically means that broke, worthless moron is going to automatically go and buy your books now. This person can't even fill out a job application. Going to buy a comic book? Are you fucking insane? So then you have this other argument that goes on with a lot of comic book creators, where a lot of comic book creators are pretty on the fence about it. What I've noticed with comic book creators is they're pretty much going like, well, they look at it as a double-edged sword. If you couldn't afford it, if I let you pirate my book, then if you like it, you may on the flip side buy this. It's your work. You can do whatever. You can sell your work however you want. I would just argue if you give someone something for free like that, they're not going to buy the physical thing. That's my opinion. But there is digital sales. Yeah. People say there is digital sales, which is fine. But you know why I know most of these retarded broke people don't use that? Amazon, Global Comics, and a few other websites sell the comics to you at a subscription price. Guys, they don't even do that. Global Comics is like $5 a month. But you know what they will buy? The Shonen Jump app, which is $1.99. It's crazy. They'll buy the Shonen. Marvel and DC also have the apps where you can purchase the comics online. Marvel and DC and Global Comics have the apps along with Shonen Jump. You can subscribe to them and read comics online. Not even buying them physically. On your tablet, your phone, you can read them. But people told me they weren't available. Von Coleman read all of Chris Claremont's X-Men run. I'm not doing that digitally. I just have this stuff physically. That's my own personal opinion. But read all of Chris Claremont's X-Men run digitally. But in MSK, you said, yeah, now you're seeing my point. Chris Claremont's X-Men run is pretty non-reprinted. There's a way to read it and interact with it if you really want to. I feel like a lot of people, for some reason, don't want to put any skin in the game. And then, for some reason, think that they can dictate how their opinions go. I'm saying this right now. If you don't buy comic books and you're pretty much 99% pirate them, I don't want to. What the fuck's your opinion mean to me? You have no skin in the game. People are crying. Remember that Green Arrow run that ended in Dawn of DC that started, and that is a Green Arrow one that ended into DC All In. And people were like, I love this series. You loved it, but you never put any actual money into buying the books. You loved it so much. You never put any money into actually buying it. That's the problem. People are fucking broke black people. I'm not saying you're all black people, but like you're broke poor people asking for handouts and then complaining when it's over. You see what I'm saying? How can that work though? You don't want to buy it, but you're mad it gets canceled. Do you know why I don't clown on myself for pirating? I purchase and interact with every single nerd thing I ever buy. So yeah, do you think I'm like, keep in mind, what's crazy for me? I've never actually pirated a comic book ever. I've only read manga online back in the day when new chapters of Shonen Jump books would come out, but I still physically bought the Shonen Jump books. I actually did go and physically buy the Shonen Jump books. I read some of the new chapters that would drop, right? Obviously online. which is what people did. But I myself bought the stuff physically. As you guys can see, I have manga and comic books physically. So the stuff that I would pirate sometimes, I would buy it physically. But what is this weird notion that people that pirate stuff buy it physically? There's no. How would you know that though? How would you know that people that pirate stuff buy it? Actually, I would argue the opposite. I argue if you pirate it, you'd be less likely to buy it physically. Why would you buy it physically? You already know the contents of it though. So then the other argument comes in, which is this. People say, well, I can't take the chance on comics being bad. That I don't even know how would you even justify that in your brain. Okay, so if you think a comic's going to be bad, you weren't going to buy it anyway, though. And then, but you read it for free, and you would still read it for free constantly. So I don't even get that. Like, oh, okay, when you buy a comic book series, whether it's a limited series or an ongoing series, there's a chance it's not going to be good. You take that risk with anything. You take that. I could go to the store right now, buy a new bag of chips, and go like, well, I can't trust buying chips anymore because it's bad, tasted bad. It's like, what the fuck? That's the risk you take when interacting with media. You want to buy or read something, it's not that good, and then you go, it's not that good. But just to morally advocate for just simply stealing it, it's like, come on, what are you doing? Like, that's just how life goes. I'm just saying. So, Dingus, what did you want to bring up about this situation? Like, the last thing I'll bring up technically is when people say, well, I want to interact with older comics that aren't reprinted. That's understandable. There you go. If you're doing it for that other second reason I'll bring up, that will be understandable to a certain extent, because Marvel and DC, throughout most of these years when it comes to like omnibuses and collected editions, stuff like that, they've been actually very bad with picking out certain books to reprint. Understandable. But some of that older stuff is also on their apps too. You know what I mean? Like, if the argument is they don't reprint enough older stuff, you guys don't buy it though. I see plenty of older stuff on the market you don't buy. So I don't even know if that's a legit argument, right? But if we're gonna entertain that one, why don't you go buy the old? Why is that older stuff not selling on the secondary market then? You want all these older comics? They're out there. Go buy them. They don't. It's always an excuse with these fucking people. But what did you want to say about this situation?
Well, I think the biggest problem with it, and you touched on it a bit earlier, and you were kind of just talking about it, is that it is a big archival for everything, right? And you're focusing on a lot about talking these Marvel DC stuff, and you can read all that on their apps, and uh, and you can legally support those, and you can also like, the one thing I want to add to your thing that you were saying a bit earlier, with people like, there's definitely parts of here in the US you can live in that doesn't have a comic store near you. There's so much rural areas where a comic store that could be as close as 5 hours away from you, right? But you can still support that by, if you have the funds to do so, you can still buy them digitally and support them the same way that way, right? But the biggest thing with it earlier with the archival thing is like it's really important because there's a lot of stuff outside of Marvel and DC that you can only find there, because especially a lot of creator owned stuff. A great example that I saw talked about was uh I think a couple months ago, we lost a huge comic artist named Sam Keith, who's known for a lot of things. Uh, but he's known for one of the things that he's most known for is his creator-owned character, is published through Image called Max. And uh, when he passed, I was like, oh, I should look into giving this a read. And you find that, oh, there's no good physical versions readily available of this. It's only old, stuff that hasn't been printed in forever to check out this famous, Image character. And so the only way that I could have gone to read, I didn't go and read, but the only way you could have gone to read that stuff is through something like this where it has it, right? And so that's really important. there's also, and so there's a bunch of examples like that. There's a bunch of weird things too. Last year I went through and read all of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Mhm.
like the original Eastman and Laird comics. And the weird thing with how those are collected is they sometimes skip around some issues here and there. And so once I finish reading it, of what's part of the main run of the main collected editions that IDW has out online that you can read. Actually, I read a lot of them through free with Kindle Unlimited because
Mhm.
that's a subscription my family has. Um, I went through and looked at all the issues here, and there's 5 issues in that series that you can't read that's not part of those. And
Mhm.
so the only way you can read them is the digital scans that people made of them because they've never officially been reprinted. Actually, I lied. One of those was reprinted, but only in an omnibus. And I'm sorry, as much as I love Turtles, I'm not buying that one omnibus just to read that one issue because it's ridiculous, you know? But you get what I mean, though, is it's like there's all these examples of stuff that is going to inevitably be lost, right? A great comparison I saw to for um was we've seen how a bunch of silent films got lost, and I've seen a bunch of people equate it to that of there's going to be all these smaller projects made that's just going to be lost to time, and so I think that's the biggest blow with this, right? But then, as you covered quite in depth, at the end of the day, though, it's also pirating. And, that at the end of the day, that is a illegal thing. So I think it's very much a double-edged sword. And so I get where a bunch of comic creators come from. Ram V talked a lot about this. And I think, like, he brings up good points of, like, well, he came from a country where he couldn't access these things. And it's the only way you could check them out. And, and you talked about that point of being something that that's the only way that you can do some things.
Yeah, so I have 2 more to really go up here, and they kind of go hand in hand, okay?
Okay.
So there's people that have said, well, I would only so people have justified using it as are like, okay, they'll read it and then they'll actually go and buy it.
Mhm.
This is so stupid. There's no first of all, there's no source to justify that. You remember that information that came out a long time ago about piracy, where they had said like it was alleged. I don't really believe it because it makes no sense to when things add up. They're like the people that pirate typically go and purchase this stuff more. But I've never seen that. I've never, and that would make, and keep on, that doesn't make sense. Why would someone who've already experienced it go and purchase it physically?
Yeah, I don't understand that
You already
logic
removed that
either.
barrier. Yeah.
I was about to say, I'll be honest. When I first started getting into comics, I used it, but that was like when I just started, right?
Hmm.
And but like before I even started going to a local comic store, right?
Hmm.
And I found that, and maybe I'm a rare case that I've purchased, I would say most of probably what I really focused on reading back then. But that's like I said, I know that's not a common mindset.
Yeah,
No.
because if all these, because I think people use it. Well, if we pirate it, it's essentially free advertising, and it helps the sale. No, it doesn't. I don't even know where that. I don't know where all this logic comes from. Where does this come from? If all of this piracy is helping the comic book industry, okay, guys, why do most of these ongoing series get canceled then? If all this stuff is doing as good, if this is good for the industry, as most of you are judging, it based off of your own personal perspective. Your argument is, does piracy help the comic book industry in the net positives of advertising, word of mouth, helps people interact with a series that they may be on the fence about? Most of these series are still getting canceled, and most of these series are not going in ongoings. Okay, I just don't. I just reject the entire premise that you doing that helps the industry. I just don't see that. I'm sorry. I don't notice that at all. I think that's just a crock of shit. Like, it's like that person that says, well, what I'm doing with this, me planting this tree is saving the world. You're saving the entire world by planting a tree. You're saving the entire world by planting a tree. You see how stupid that sounds when you actually really think about it? I'm not saying
Mhm.
that planting one tree is going to save the world. You have to plant many trees to save the world, obviously. It's that person that is justifying doing it's like if, example here. There's this guy at church. He was going to church, giving, like they give like the tithes, the 10% to like God or whatever. He was a cashier. He stole out of the register and gave those ties to the church on Sunday. Is that good? You see, that's the same thing you guys are doing. The argument is, well, if I pirate this is actually good because then I could. And then we have to believe that randoms online. First of all, we have to believe that randoms online have friends. You guys are fucking loose. You have no friends, honestly. You're gonna tell your friends about this series, and then that they're gonna go and buy this. What? How does that work though? If you bought this series if you read it for free online, and you would tell them about it, why would they not read it for free then too? I don't know how these things correlate to more sales in books. They don't. And for a lot of you people that are saying we want the older stuff, there is the older stuff out there. A decent amount of it. Most of it's not there too. I understand that argument too. But you're not even buying it. You're not even buying it. Like it's just so odd that people will, I think people would rather just say, hey, I don't want to buy this. I'd rather people just are honest. You don't want to physically support it monetarily with money. You think you deserve it for free. Then that goes into another thing of like, why do you think you deserve this for free? That's another whole thing. It's just entitlement. People are just really entitled pieces of shit. So they think that they're just cool. And they think that them doing this has a net positive. No, I would argue all that has a net negative. Outside of like archiving like specific issues that you need for certain runs, outside of that, it's actually my own personal opinion a net negative. Now, could the companies be better about the system that involves comic books? Yes, the system does need to be. This system needs to be updated for a while. Everyone will agree with that. Everyone would agree. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, the system needs to be upended and changed, right? But we'd have to see a day where that happens, right? There's these things called free comic book days. Remember, people keep saying, "Oh, it's so." People say, "Well, comics are hard to get into," but there's free comic book days. You can buy trades. You can buy books discounted. There's websites out there like Temu. You can buy books discounted. You don't have to buy on Amazon. People say, but Amazon's too expensive. You don't have to buy books on Amazon. You can buy. One of my favorite bookstores to buy from is Thrift Books. It's based out in like Atlanta or some shit. Thrift Books is very good. You can use Amazon.
Yeah, there's some really good local stores depending on where you are.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I don't know if it quite goes out all far west here, but at least more on the East Coast here, there's a place called Ollie's,
yeah. I wish we had that out here.
Okay, yeah, so there's a couple near me, and like I found that they have some really good deals of stuff. Like I've gotten some like genuinely really good stuff. Like I got the paperback to Jack Kirby's like original Eternals run for like $8 there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they have great deals there of like legitimately good stuff. Now there's a lot of crap there too, but yeah, absolutely. There's
like
a lot of ways you can get it for cheaper.
Like the people in America have no excuse. If you are in the United States, because Europe can have a lot of problems with distributors too. Mm-hmm. If you are in the United States, there is no reason for you, and you have no excuses not to interact with this stuff. There is plenty of outlets. Do you know an even the most underrated outlet of interacting with comic books to get into them? Your library, your local library probably has it now.
There's a service called Hoopla where you can. I don't know how it works, but I know it's like you like register through your library and it gives you access to all this other digital stuff.
Yeah,
and so it's a great way to check out a bunch of comics for free.
That's where he says he does that. He's read most of new Marvel stuff through trades at his local library.
I hear so much of that is done like really good.
Are you telling me your area doesn't? Are you guys telling me your area doesn't have a library? Man, if you told me your area doesn't, I know you're bullshitting. Fuck. God damn! If you say you don't have a library, I know your ass is bullshitting. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Like that's literally something here designed to
help you get into reading. Yeah, help you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's super duper. Like you can't get any cheaper than that for getting into things.
You can even get them for free.
Yeah,
get a library card, check them out, and if you're like, hey, I don't like that. Well, that's great. You can return them. Tall library, fucking hell, fuck me. It's called library card works. All right, Ram V, the guy who's did a lot of work at the big two, indie stuff as well. He had his opinion about it, which was the comic book piracy discourse has made it to my doorstep. Was discussing with a comics adjacent friend who wanted my thoughts on piracy in comics, specifically mine. And weirdly, though, I have thought about it. I'd never articulated up until today. But first, a little history. I grew up in India, in Mumbai. Okay. I don't know why that matters at all. I didn't have success. I didn't have access to a lot of the American mainstream comics as a kid. See, this is what I brought up earlier.
That's why it's important.
Yeah, no, I was just fucking with them. He's Indian. I love shitting on these guys because they'd have absolutely poor hygiene, and they'll make food. I would never eat food there.
Thank you. Come again.
Oh, God. So, he says, okay, all jokes aside, a little history. I grew up in India, in Mumbai. I didn't have access to a lot of the American mainstream comics as a kid. I read from secondhand bookshops, and I'd get the occasional fresh copy traveling relatives. My first comic as an adult was Sandman, and I torrented it. See what he said there? Secondhand bookshops he got stuff from. If you guys say to me with a straight face, you do not have that available to you, even if you're in third world countries, you're fucking with me. I think you're full of shit. I think your mom probably deserved to abort you. Good Lord. I pretty much read all of Gaiman, Moore, Ellis, and Morrison in torrents. I read all of Hellblazer and Miller plus Varley on through torrents too. I didn't have access. I was poor, yada yada. I own all of those comics today, multiple copies, artist editions. Okay, so what he's bringing up is that when he pirated, he actually went and bought the physical stuff. This isn't equivalent to everybody. He's one of you would be in the minority of people that do that though. And I'm saying that it's good he did that. I'm glad he went and supported all of these people the way he had based off how he got access to the stuff. You guys know that that's for me too. I had to read a lot of these stories on the internet, through like wikis and Wikipedia and stuff like that shit because I didn't have money to get the stuff. But I definitely went and supported. You'd be in a minority if you did that though. That's not the majority of people that are going to do that though. Most of these people are going to argue to you that they deserve everything for free. But I'm not naive enough to believe everyone pirating is buying the book later. Yes, I agree. Yeah, there you go. I see figures from online sites. There is a correlation, but those numbers don't translate. Free stuff always gets more numbers than stuff you have to pay for. So pinch of salt. Yes, I agree with that. When people say, oh, well, if we pirate and it's advertising and it helps, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. There's no stats to back that up. And if you ever say that, I'm telling you this.
Shut your bitch ass up.
But I'm not here to say piracy is good or right or anything of the sort. It simply is. What I found more interesting was my philosophical inclinations toward this idea of reading pirated stories has not changed despite the money that my books make or don't. And that is because to me, comics has always had a bootstrap contraband quality to it. You cannot love an industry where people photocopy and staple their art and bring it to conventions and then hold serious grudges when people read your stories online. I accept and embrace that ramshackle quality of comics. I expect that comics, its creators, its readership will always be a bit of a mess. Hopefully, mostly a lovable one. Oh, you be no, actually, nope. So I suppose if we accept that piracy is the only real way that industries have found to fight back, is either to limit access and control it through digital rights or provide accessibility on such a scale that pirating simply does not thrive. In most of these cases, the creators are almost never made whole. Look at music, look at residuals. Yeah, people keep saying, oh, well, why doesn't this ongoing run keep going? Or why don't the creators get paid for their ongoings? Well, that's a whole different conversation when it comes to like residuals. I'm not going to get into it in a specific video, right? But it doesn't help, especially on the DC and Image side of it, not Marvel, because Marvel doesn't have that. Marvel's fucking, that's a whole story for another day. Basically, on the DC point, if you do that for DC creators and you say, well, why aren't they getting paid for their work from DC? You're stupid. You're fucking stupid. You pirating that person's work is not helping them get their residuals. Just pointing it out there. Digital comics, as a publishing endeavor, is a mess in my experience. So my only real choice I give the benefit to a readership that may pirate, but may also go on to support my work, or an industry whose primary interest is to squeeze profit from it for itself. But they do reprint some of the older stuff to people to factor in. For DC, they have the DC's Finest line that is reprinting all the older stuff. Well, they're starting to reprint all those stories. They literally reprinted Action Comics #1 with Superman, the first superhero. If you ever wanted to read Superman, there is a way to do it. But I can't pay $40. Go to secondhand bookstores. I'm pretty sure they'll sell that to you for $20. Maybe cheaper, maybe 15. I'll pick a fellow reader over a company any day, perhaps in solidarity. But that same reader is willing to pirate your shit for free. You choosing that person? That same reader doesn't even value your stuff to buy, though. Or whatever. Perhaps in solidarity with that little anarchic comic heart, go ahead, read them where you can. Hopefully the stories stay with you. Hopefully when you can, you'll own a copy. I'm good. I'm happy. This guy says, as a creator, this sets a dangerous precedent. It's easy to call the big publishing houses the villains while at the same time profiting while creating for them. Yeah, I agree. Ask yourself, without DC or Marvel, would there even be a comics industry? No, I disagree with that. I do disagree with that. This would exist in some shape or facet, you know? I've mainly read pirated comics because I love the digital layout. I purchase physical stuff of the stuff I read for a backup purposes in case the website goes down. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
That's like the most backwards thinking I've ever read.
I told you, this is how the people think. They think, oh, well, it's like, okay, let's say you're a bank robber and you stole from a bank. Would you
It's
go
like, okay, if you love the digital layout, then you freaking buy it digital.
Yeah. All right, so here's the other response. So the responses to my tweet on pirate reading have been endearing, but there's the inevitable vein of chuds. Oh, shut the fuck up. Talking about you'll be homeless and starving. Yeah. If you're advocating people pirate your books, dude, you're going to be homeless. How would you get paid? You know what I mean? If you're advocating people pirate your books, you are not going to make those residuals you're talking about. You also, in your own tweets, chose the readers. Some of these readers don't even value putting money into your stuff. Oh, great readers you have. They don't even value putting money into your work. Such great readers you have. Very tempted to clown on them, but I was raised to believe it's crass to talk about wealth. So I will say this. I've done well enough not to take on gigs purely for the money. A lucky, privileged position, yes. But I've made plenty of things for free. My first comic paid $50 for a full script. These comics and more have been shared, read and pirated to no end. It is a lie sold to you that pirated reading is draining wealth from creators. No, I disagree with that. You're fucking retarded. Nope. Are you telling? Oh my God. So yes, people pirating more means that it's actually benefited the creators. How? There's no correlation to that. There's no stats to back that up.
I think the correlation is something to do with word of mouth, but I would be interested in learning more of.
Yeah, like even because like people have also been like, well, word of mouth is spread. Where? I don't see it though. There are more instances of fully employed artists, readers ending careers with nothing to show for it. Yeah, but that has no correlation either. The people that read their work probably read it for free too. There's no correlation in that. Your work being read online is much small. Your work being read online is a much smaller problem than predatory publishing practices. Okay, so that part I can agree with. That part relies on Marvel and DC to create a structure that allows the average person to get into comics, which DC's done with their compact comic line, which they've done to get into the old stuff with the DC's Finest line. They did that by putting out some of the dollar books in Dollar Trees. Should they be in more big box retailers like Dollar General and 99-cent store? Yeah, I agree with that too. But to say that nothing's been tried, come on. That's disgusting. So Shine Comics had said, thanks, Ram. About to pirate the shit out of your Detective Comics. Was going to pre-order your omnibus like a normal person who believes in supporting the industry they claim to love, but fuck it. Why not just read it for free? Thanks, man. He said, knock yourself out. Enjoy being a statistic. Oh, what a dick. What does that even mean, Ram? How am I being a statistic by pirating your books when you give express consent and endorsement of pirating your books? Please elaborate. I will add one more to the number of people that have read my work. Enjoy. Yeah, that doesn't mean they enjoyed it. Just because they read your work for free doesn't mean they enjoyed it. I already bought the trade paperbacks of this run. I supported your runs too. I have 3 of your Detective Comics runs right there. I need to buy the rest of them. I need 2. I need 2 of the hardcovers, and I'm gonna buy the omnibuses too. The omnibus you have coming out too. So But yeah, I found your entire run in single issues at my local thrift shop for 30 bucks. Look at this. Read what this guy just said. I found an entire Batman run in single issues at my local thrift shop for 30 bucks. I'm very excited to check it out. This guy found an entire run of someone's run for $30, and you guys say there's no way of you getting into the comic book shops, and it's a difficult hobby to get into or to find books. What the literal fuck is... You guys are just broke. Look at what he just said. He found an entire run of someone's run, which is Ram V's run, at a thrift shop for 30 bucks. And you people keep saying, it's hard to get into. You know what also is sold at those thrift shops? Manga. Manga is also sold there too. You never said that for manga. Why is that never worse for manga though? Manga is in the same spot in that thrift shop too. What is the all comments here? But that's pretty much it for that. Man, I want to be a statistics too. He didn't hand shine an L. Oh, whatever. This guy, that's fucking stupid. So yeah, here's another thing we got here. I read the Absolute comics for free, and now I'm planning on buying them because I love them so much. Did you do? But keep in mind, when people say that, there was no proof that person did that. Just proving out, there is no proof this person did that. They're just, it's so easy on the internet for people to just like have that false sense of like bravado, as you know, dude, where they kind of oversell the thing that they're doing. Yeah, I'm always doing the greatest thing ever, all the time, everywhere, every time, every minute of the day. It's like, no, you're not. What the fuck? But then this person says, good for you. The vast majority of piracy claim they do, but the sales numbers don't add up. And if you want books to continue, then pre-orders do that. Not planning on paying for things you stole at some point. Yeah. Businesses don't thrive on you planning on doing whatever. That's not how that works, you know? So when people say these things, guys, keep in mind, on the internet, people love to kind of have this like false sense of like bravado where they're always kind of talking about the best possible thing that they ever have done. It's just, there's no way of proving that. People will always kind of like have a sense of like fakeness about them online when they're kind of telling you about things that they've done. So then this person had a quote tweet to Shine, and it said, comics can be a ludicrously expensive hobby, and piracy keeps the industry afloat. If these sites were all shut down, then most people wouldn't start buying comics. They just stop reading them. This is the problem that we have here. They weren't going to buy in general. Those people that would stop reading comics because the piracy sites went down, they weren't going to buy anyways. That's the point. You weren't going to buy anyway. And since you're bitching this much about a piracy website going down, you weren't going to buy them anyway. Also, you have pronouns in your bio and you like Fortnite. So I know you're fucking a loser. Just when you play Fortnite, you're a loser. So Shine Comics put out here, the reason the comic industry would die without piracy is because none of you LARPing weirdos are real fans. You're only willing to engage with comics as a medium if it's free. You pay for movies, you pay for food, you pay for the phone you're tweeting this retarded shit on. Yeah. People would be more willing to buy, go watch a movie at a theater for comics. I just don't know. Like, okay, I don't know if equating food to comics is the same. Obviously, you need food to live, but I just don't know. People go on Steam and buy games on Steam. Perfectly fine. I just don't understand when it comes to this stuff, So I'll ask you, man, any final thoughts and opinions of this? I want to just gather some of these tweets to, round up the conversation for. Like, and my final thoughts is, like, these guys want to put no skin in the game. They want to put no skin in the game and have the hardest, strongest opinion on something that they don't financially support at all? What? I don't listen to you. You could pirate to me if you've bought what you have in your background. Go ahead and pirate all you want. If you put skin in the game, you put money in this stuff. Go pirate all you want. But if you don't, you can just go fuck yourself.
Shut up, bitch.
All right. What are your final thoughts about this?
The only main thing I'll add on is, comics is definitely an expensive hobby. So I get if people can't afford to read everything that they want. As there is, it's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think that should excuse the use of these things either at the same time, right? But And we already talked about ways to get it cheaper or even free
Mhm.
legally. So we'll leave that all there. But no, it's one of those things that I understand both sides of the argument, right?
Mhm.
Um, at the end of the day, pirating is pirating, but on the other side, uh, there's a lot of things I think will be lost. I think at the end of the day, it's always a shame if something in the art is lost forever, right? I'm sure there's a couple other places back there, but if the main place that you can go check out some of those things is now lost, such as all those like I said, just things that just aren't reprinted even outside of Marvel DC. Places that don't have their own apps. Uh, it always hurts to see when so many things are lost forever. So many great creator-owned works that might just now be inaccessible. So, and that's the biggest thing that I think is the problem. There is, uh, I think it's more important to have something available than for it to not be available, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, in this day and age of the internet, there's no way for you to prevent comics as a medium being uh pirated unless they completely change how the distribution worked
Yeah.
and actually change how comics are read digitally. And even then, it's like it's hard to prevent screenshots and things like that. Even with applications that say you can't prevent screenshots.
Mhm.
Disney Plus doesn't outright let you screenshot things, but people still screen cap things from that all the time. So it's like there's always ways around it. It's super hard. So it's like there's nothing you could do against it being out there. So I don't know. I think there is a point too to just kind of let things let it be, and as you said too, I think people are going to be stuck in their ways, and you can't change if people are stuck in those ways.
Yeah. And then you had all those people that were trying to pile on Shine because they think Ram V owned him or whatever. The stupid bullshit that happens on Twitter where all these people on Twitter that were cheering on Ram V essentially having this take on piracy. It's crazy. You guys like him so much, you're not ever putting in money into his comic book run. His comic book run right now, you can buy the trades and the hardcovers. But as long as he got those Twitter brownie points with the likes and retweets, yeah. Oh, we dogpiled them on Twitter. But you don't even value his work to go and buy it. You don't value his work to buy it with your own money. It's crazy, huh? You don't value his work to buy it with your own money, but you're gonna dogpile on someone who's gonna do the same thing you are. That's why I tell people all the time, Twitter is definitely not real life. And do not believe people on Twitter when they're saying that they're always the better person. And they're not. Like, these people are fucking stupid. I'm seeing like things right now where they're like, man, he really got Shine. Shine supports the comic book industry. He buys things. You people don't. People on Twitter are arguing to get books for free, championing on the creator that they're not even forking out money for. It's fucking ridiculous. So, I don't even know where it goes with these people. You guys are all retarded. I hate all of you, but that's how it works in life, right? So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I'm MSK, aka Masters Viking, and we're going to be signing out, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace. All right. Do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Just keep an eye out for Ultra Mega Volume 1 review and live Saturday night covering the Smallville Season 2 finale.
Hell yeah. So, for me, as you guys know, I have my new work schedule. So, I'm closing Wednesday through Friday. I'm working Saturday, Sunday as well. That's my work schedule currently. Maybe this changes, maybe it doesn't. So if I'm going to be streaming anything, it's going to be definitely earlier in the day, Wednesday through Friday, and Saturday also earlier and later for both the weekend days as well. So yeah, I got podcasts and game streams coming up. So thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show, and we'll see you guys later.